Chances are many people in your environment, especially your parents, told you it's about time you take responsibility for your actions. No more mommy and daddy paying for everything. No more compassion from teachers, especially in college. No more expectations, etc. It was time to grow and become an adult. At some point, regardless of your gender, you must build a good life for yourself because pretty much nothing is free and easy. However, it seems that the entitlement of modern-day women impedes them from accepting this simple yet harsh reality. When a man chooses a 304 that eventually destroys his reputation and status, it's all the man's fault. If a woman chooses an asshole, guess what? She'll hardly be held accountable for her choices. She might say that all the men she dated were trash or other names she wants to call them. But the questions are, has she reflected upon her behavior and decisions? Hardly. Is there a pattern among the men she's dated? Probably. Are they, by any chance, all Chads and Darones? Well, you can take a guess. Let me clarify this before any girl runs her mouth. Since I'm a fair man, I acknowledge as any person with a little bit of common sense that everyone out there has some kind of trauma and difficulties to overcome. Also, many are simply not ready to start faithful, loving relationships. Both men and women have been brainwashed to perceive a relationship per se as a badge of honor. For example, when a girl says she's got a new boyfriend, all her friends applaud her and get interested about their story, how they met, and in some cases, what they do in bed. When a man gets a girlfriend, pretty much the same thing happens. The reality of a relationship, though, is quite different. Although at first everything can look good and fairy tale-like, in the long run it can turn out to be quite difficult. When the honeymoon phase is gone, both parties can see each other without any sugar-coated filters, and that's the moment problems come through. The stats do not lie, guys, and the fact of the matter is that only 5% of marriages are happy, whereas the remainder end up in divorce or simply in unfulfilling relationships, aka sexless marriages, useless fights and all that jazz. Fortunately though, many men have woken up already, and many more are joining the mgtow community since the dating marketplace situation is just not bearable. While most men are taking the time to go within and improve themselves, most women prefer blaming external agents, asking for a lot of traits, and overall believing they deserve the perfect partner or partners and lifestyle. If you have a conversation with your grandma, she'll probably tell you that you must be careful with the girls you date and be always aware of what's going on. That's indeed a very wise piece of advice. In today's video, guys, I will disclose to you the hypocrisy of modern-day women, especially when the equality they preach becomes irrelevant. It seems that those rock-solid principles of feminism are fading away, so stick around because I'm sure you're going to love this one. But before we go deeper, let me give first a special honorable mention to Iceman, aka Noob Saibot, for being a loyal subscriber for a while now. Recently, I came across an article titled "Why Do People Get Feminism Wrong?" Since it grabbed my attention, I took some time to read it because it's a good idea to know multiple perspectives instead of living in an echo chamber, which is, by the way, what modern-day women tend to do. In the first paragraph, the girl says that she didn't understand why the word feminism is so scary to people. It shouldn't be, because it just means equality. This single phrase is a huge facepalm, nothing but pure propaganda. And it doesn't really surprise me, because the author is a young woman that has just started her uni degree. She further dares to say that Generation Z, women included, sees feminism in the wrong way. According to her, many of her friends misunderstood this ideology, and she's been fighting for her rights as a woman from the moment I knew what that meant. This is quite interesting, so let's see what she means. I'm not even saying that everything works the same way everywhere in the world, except for female hypergamy, of course, and you guys know that I usually address the situation in the West, especially America. In the West, it's easy for a woman to get a job, open bank accounts, own property, etc. A woman in the West has equal, if not more, rights than men. As much as women can feel outraged for saying these things, that's the way it is. Women in the West are more, quote-unquote, empowered than ever, and the whole establishment, including celebrities, musicians, and even world leaders, support the feminist movement. However, despite having all the odds in their favor, many men don't tolerate this bullshit anymore. Conscious men know that all the boss bitch narrative vanishes in divorce courts. And when women hit the wall, just like someone cringes over some of the music they listened to just because it was popular, these women end up realizing that they followed a wicked ideology that had no practical benefit. Well, getting a man divorced raped in family court was a huge benefit for them anyway. Another interesting phrase the author says is feminism is represented in an awful way, where feminists are described as women who are too loud, too aggressive, too strong, anti-men, or even unattractive. That is definitely not feminism. To be honest, she has just exposed herself there. Not only is feminism represented in an awful way, it's just the way it is, and every rally and protest proves it. Let me be clear once again, I'm not referring to women who genuinely have a hard time because they had to deal with psychos or abusers in some cases, especially if that's the family or the environment they grew up in. Anyone could hardly fight back. Indeed, regardless of your past, as a grown-up person, you must always strive to become better, and blaming your past or your upbringing does not help at all. Fortunately, there are some people out there who use this trauma to build themselves up, and that's indeed very honorable. The modern women I refer to are mostly the ones that complain about a so-called patriarchy and not having the rights men have. While reality is quite different, most of these women say that they want equality, but right off the bat, that's simply stupid. Why? Because men and women are not equal. As much as women are encouraged to be promiscuous, to, quote-unquote, know themselves more, the reality is that a woman that chooses to be like that tends to live miserably and with lots of emotional baggage. Feminism, of course, has led to the quote-unquote, sexual liberation. In reality, this has caused women to be slaves to their desires and even male validation. Chances are you've met a hot chick, and in the midst of the day, she got so focused on her phone that she didn't even listen to you. That's the sad reality of today's world, and there's little discussion on why men prefer singlehood over dating women. Women that understand men's struggles are scarce, and a byproduct of this is men going their own way. As much as women can speak wonders of their fight for equality, the reality is that they barely hold themselves accountable. Here's an example when she ends up in bad relationships. The next guy will have to deal with a woman that made mistakes before he came into the picture. She might say that her exes were cheaters, traitors, abusers, etc. But she might become that awful person eventually, no matter how good the new man treats her. Instead of checking what went wrong, these modern ships prefer to put the blame on every man that was before by calling them sexist, stupid, irresponsible and even bad. You name it, and I'm sure you have come across this kind of woman before. Let these girls enjoy their so-called equality, and if they live up to that expectation, I hope they find out someday how hard it is to work in construction and any job that keeps infrastructure functioning. As always, I wish you tremendous success. Now it's your turn. What do you think? What does equality mean for modern women? Have you ever come across women who talk about equality but end up supporting unequal treatment? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Remember that if you leave the best comment, you will get $5. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video useful, hit the like and subscribe buttons. Ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future uploads. Drop a comment and share it. See you in the next video, guys. Till next time.